Corey Feldman's life is in danger after his latest set of revelations about the satanic rituals happening behind the scenes in Hollywood. Feldman was a child actor who witnessed and survived abuse at the hands of shady Hollywood higher-ups. He has been vocal about what these creeps do to kids, and specifically what they did to his co-star from the Lost Boys franchise, Corey Haim. But recently, Feldman has gotten bolder with his claims, and has revealed that the predators of Hollywood weren't just systematically using Corey and the other child star, they were doing it as part of a satanic ritual. This claim has shaken the industry, which is already at its weakest with poor box office performance and a string of scandals. So I want to dive into Feldman's claims and see how deep this rabbit hole goes. Let's start with Feldman's central claim. This is something that he has said repeatedly despite numerous death threats, and that is that Hollywood's biggest problem is pedophilia. He says that it is the #1 problem for child actors and teen stars, and is the reason most of them turn out the way they do. In one interview, he said that the #1 problem in Hollywood was, and is, and always will be pedophilia. It's all done under the radar. It's the big secret.
I can tell you that the #1 problem in Hollywood was, and is, and always will be pedophilia. That's the biggest problem for children in this industry.
The casting couch even applies to children.
Oh yeah, not in the same way. It's all done under the radar.
Nobody talks about pedophilia.
It's the big secret.
But why hasn't anyone exposed it? Well, the people behind this network of abuse are so powerful that they can immediately have someone labeled as crazy. And when that happens, the results are pretty scary. The court can put you under a conservatorship by declaring that you are not mentally sane enough to make your own decisions. And from then on, all your decisions, including who gets your money, are up to your court-appointed conservator. That's what happened to Britney Spears when she was placed under a years-long conservatorship. Her father got to decide everything for her. He had control over her bank accounts as well. So that's pretty scary, and can happen to anyone who dares stand up to the wealthy and the powerful. And that's the reason Corey Haim's abuser got away with it, at least according to Corey Feldman. At the height of the Me Too movement, Feldman warned that the abusers being outed were just the tip of the iceberg. He claimed that Hollywood was simply kicking out a handful of abusers to make it seem like there's accountability. But behind the scenes, almost everyone is an abuser or is in on the abuse. Now, this is a very serious claim, but it barely scratches the surface. In one interview, Feldman told Newsweek that the abuse he witnessed was demonic and felt like it was connected to dark forces. There's been some serious discussion around Hollywood's ritual problem. One of the most discussed Hollywood cornerstones is the humiliation ritual. Many believe that Chris Rock's getting slapped was a humiliation ritual. They also say that Will Smith getting interviewed by his wife after she cheated on him was a humiliation ritual. And while these alleged rituals sound dark, they involve consenting adults. The types of rituals that Feldman alludes to involve children, which is where things go from dark to satanic. He has pointed out 5 patterns of ritualistic abuse. It starts with parties for child actors. Feldman says that when he was a teen star, he was invited to parties where most attendees were children aged 10 to 16, and there were just a handful of adult men. These men, Feldman argued, had no good intentions.
There was a circle of older men that surrounded themselves around this group of kids, and they all had either their own power or connections to great power in the entertainment industry.
On the surface, these were networking events of young talent, but in reality, it was all an excuse to serve up minors to powerful creeps. In one interview, he told CBS News that they would throw these parties where you'd walk in and it would be mostly kids and there would be a handful of adult men. We were being passed around. That passing around was the second step of the systematic abuse. The creepy execs would try to cross boundaries with almost every star, and once they spotted one who was too scared to talk, they would latch on to him or her. And that paints a very sad picture, because if a child actor was abused by an exec, he couldn't even turn to others because they would abuse him as well. Feld says he and his late friend Corey Haim were passed around by Hollywood predators. He told one media outlet, "Ask anybody in our group of kids at that time, they were passing us back and forth to each other." Then came the third step, the silencing. Feldman tried to fight back, but was blackballed from Hollywood. Even on the outside, he wasn't able to do much. Despite his best efforts to document and expose the abuse, he faced pushback. Armies of lawyers were blocking his access to reports. He was also threatened with lawsuits that prevented him from naming alleged abusers. At one point, Feldman tried to crowdfund a documentary to expose the abuse in Hollywood, but he was buried in a mountain of insurance issues that delayed the production indefinitely. Feldman claimed that the abuse links all the way up to a studio. He also said that they are still out there and even working in Hollywood all these years later. The fourth step in the ritual of abuse has to do with destroying the souls of the victims. The creeps who prey on the kids introduce them to drugs, which become their coping mechanism. The victims then grow up dependent on drugs and often return to their abusers for a fix. Creating this willing submission to abuse is a way to destroy the victim's soul. Many victims are unable to live with themselves after years of abuse and end up deleting themselves from existence. This, Feldman heavily implies, is a sacrifice to Satan. Abusers force their victims to the point where they want to end their suffering one way or another. His friend Haim also passed away in an apparent drug overdose that was later categorized as a natural death from pneumonia.
There's one person to blame in the death of Haim, and that person happens to be a Hollywood mogul. And that person needs to be exposed, but unfortunately I can't be the one to do it. But the person that knows who did it and knows who he is watching right now, I guarantee you.
And the Hollywood creeps seem to believe that once the victim's soul leaves their body, it is trapped by an evil spirit that they have summoned. This spirit is also responsible for the fame and power that many of these executives enjoy. If Feldman had revealed all of this back when he was a child star, people would have dismissed it as a child's imagination. If he revealed it as a grown-up, it would have been dismissed as the ramblings of a crazy man. So Feldman took an interesting approach to unveiling the Hollywood predators and their rituals. He started with a memoir titled Choreography, which he published in 2013. In the book, he opened up about his own experiences as a child actor and the abuse he and Haim suffered. In the interviews leading up to the memoir's release and the appearances he made after it was published, Feldman built up public interest in Hollywood's ritualistic child abuse. Then he gradually dropped hints about the satanic elements. He described the patterns of abuse that many people saw as rituals. And just as they got interested in learning more, Corey announced a documentary project that would expose the satanic creeps. This was back in 2017. When Feldman started a crowdfunding campaign to raise $10 million for his feature film project. It took him nearly 4 years to release the documentary because of legal and insurance issues. Feldman claimed that the Hollywood machine was working overtime to silence him, but by 2020, he managed to get his project to the finish line. He released the documentary titled My Truth, The of Two Coreys, in which he revealed the extent of the abuse that he and his friend Haim suffered at the hands of the Hollywood abusers. One of the people he named in the documentary is Charlie Sheen. Feldman claimed that Sheen had Haim on the set of the 1986 film Lucas. At the time of the filming, Sheen was 19 and Haim was 13. Sheen denied the allegations and called them sickening, but he did not sue Corey for naming him.
Haim allegation, did that happen or did that happen?
Absolute bullshit. I should have taken legal action against Feldman.
Some people dismissed Corey's allegations because Sheen had only ever dated women, but in a recent documentary, Sheen revealed that he had had sex with men, which only strengthens Corey's claim. While the Charlie Sheen bombshell turned heads, Corey's documentary did not reveal much about powerful executives and studio bosses who had allegedly practiced ritualistic child abuse. The project was criticized because it didn't reveal enough new information. People who had given money to Corey's campaign were hoping he would name the abusers, and production notes revealed that that was the initial plan. But Corey's team was buried in legal notices that basically censored him into silence. After that, Feldman went radio silent for about a year, but his most recent appearances have been a lot bolder. The discussion around Jeffrey Epstein and his clients has primed the public to believe that powerful people are up to no good. And with the public ready to believe him, Feldman has found a renewed sense of purpose. But he has a long battle ahead of him. For starters, his friend Haim's mother has come out against him. Then there's the legal risk, as anyone he names can file a defamation suit against him. And finally, there's the risk to his life. Many whistleblowers have been found dead under mysterious circumstances. A whistleblower who raised his voice against OpenAI was found dead very recently. Multiple whistleblowers and potential witnesses against Boeing were also found dead, suspiciously around the time when the company was under tight legal scrutiny. But perhaps the most prominent example of a person of interest dying just before revealing the truth is that of Jeffrey Epstein. He was found dead in his jail cell despite being on protective watch. So if someone under constant supervision can die under suspicious circumstances, what chance does a former child star have? Corey himself has alluded to drug overdoses being used as a potential weapon. Many believe that studios manufacture an image of drug dependence around their targets. Once the public starts believing that the celebrity is addicted to drugs, the studio can simply send a hitman with a syringe. Celebrity dead from an overdose is such a common occurrence that it is barely even remembered as news. So when powerful syndicates can have you killed with a simple drug, or have you labeled as crazy for telling the truth, you watch what you say. And that brings us to the code speak theory. The code speak theory suggests that Corey Feldman has been leaving coded hints in his claims and actions ever since he went public with his allegations. And internet sleuths have worked around the clock to decode these messages. Firstly, they believe that the $10 million Corey Feldman raised was a clue as to what he was offered to stay silent. By raising $10 million from the public, Corey basically signaled to the studios that he didn't need their money. Secondly, Feldman has repeatedly repeatedly referred to the term passing around, which his fans believe is another clue. It refers to how the studios dealt with the predators. If you simply look at the executives who were passed around from studio to studio right around the time when Corey Haim's abuse became public, you'll find your likely suspects. Another word that Feldman allegedly used to secretly signal the truth is pattern. He has repeatedly referred to patterns of abuse, but what he truly meant is rituals. Hollywood is notorious for its secret ties to the occult. People have traced satanic symbols all the way back to the earliest movies coming out of Hollywood. But recently, the satanic predators have switched their focus and set their sights on a new form of entertainment, and that is streaming. Feldman's accusations point to predators still being out there. And if you look at the influx of TV and movie execs getting involved with digital media, it should be obvious where they will pick their new victims from. Add to that the dark money flowing into YouTube and streaming, and you get a pretty disturbing picture. Creeps that ran kids' content in Hollywood are now getting their fingers in digital content. They can lure kids online without ever holding a physical meeting in a studio, so they will do a lot more damage than they did back when Corey Feldman was a child star. Now the question is, who is going to stop them? If Feldman's accusations are true, then the only people who can stop these Satanists are righteous lawmakers, politicians and judges who have sold their souls. One popular theory suggests that there is such a circle of righteous leaders working within the current government. These leaders work in different agencies and departments, and are often called the clean state. They work against the Satanists who run the deep state and protect ritualistic users. Whether this is true or not will be revealed in a few months, as a large-scale action is supposedly in the works. You will see thousands of executives, agents, and actors in prison if the clean state manages to act on intel that Corey Feldman is holding close to his chest.